and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Janicek is excused. Commissioner Austin?
Here.
Rose?
Here.
Scheffler?
Here.
Stahira?
Here.
Vashani?
Here.
Chair Brown?
Present. On the agenda is approval of the minutes from the last regular meeting that we had on January 14th, 2026. If there are no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Perfect. Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry. Reading my script. Any opposed?
I abstain.
With that, the motion is approved. At this time, citizens who wish to discuss any items not on the agenda may speak to the commission. As a reminder, the commission may not discuss or vote on items not on the agenda, but we can take this information to inform our future deliberations or requests to city staff. Does anyone wish to speak? If so, please approach the podium one at a time and state your name for the record. Okay, it doesn't look like we have anyone, so the public input portion of the meeting is now closed. Now we are moving on to public hearings. So public hearing item number 1 is it's a conditional use permit, CUP 2026-0002 for property located at 917 West Duarte Road.
Yes, Chair. For this report, the applicant is actually requesting a continuance of the public hearing to April 15th, 2026. So it would be appropriate this time to open the public hearing, and if anyone is here to comment on that, those comments will be recorded within that public hearing before the commission makes a motion to keep it open.
Okay, so I'm going to now open the public hearing. I have a little part before that. Should I do? Okay, perfect. So since the applicant is requesting that we continue this item to the April 15th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting, we will open the public hearing and then continue the public hearing to the April 15th meeting. So if anyone is here to speak on this item, we encourage you to come back and speak at the April 15th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. However, if you would like to speak, you have the opportunity to do that now, and it will be made a part of the record. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this? So I'm going to open the public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak tonight? Okay, so since there's been a request to continue it, do I have a motion to continue the review of CUP 2026-0002 to the April 15th Planning Commission meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, perfect. Roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Austin?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Scheffler?
Yes.
Stahira?
Yes.
Vashani?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. So motion passes, and so the public hearing is continued to April 15th, 2026. Now we're moving to public hearing item 2, which is a conditional use permit, CUP 2026-0003, design review, DR 2026-0001 for property located at 903 East Huntington Drive, the Seven Leaves Cafe. The recommendation is to approve the conditions. Can we please have the staff report for public hearing item 2?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, Commissioners.
Tonight before you, we have a conditional use permit, 2026-0003. This is to operate a Seven Leaves Cafe with drive-through service in an existing vacant 1,900 square foot former retail building, and that is located within 100 feet of a residential property. And it does also include a design review, that's DR 2026-0001. This has been included because they are proposing minor facade renovations. This would normally be reviewed by Development Review Committee, but because of the CUP request, it's been bundled into one application for your review. So the subject site is located at 903 East Huntington Drive, and Mr. Timothy Wynn from Seven Leaves Cafe, along with the rest of his team, are here in support of the project. So the subject site is located on the northeast corner of South Mountain Avenue and East Huntington Drive. This subject property is located within the PD7 zone. This is a mixed zone that allows for office, commercial, and restaurants. The site details include it's a 22,725 square foot site. There's an existing 1,900 square foot commercial building. It is also bounded by a 6-foot block wall along the north and the east property lines, and that's to provide a buffer between a residential use to the north, that is the mobile home park called 1020, and then there's a commercial site directly east that is adjacent to it as well, and that's a Take 5 oil change for a light auto repair use. The previous operations, this was a former Walgreens with a drive-through pharmacy. They were operated with a CUP for that drive-through between around 1997 through up until last year. I think they closed a little bit longer than a year, but that's when their permit expired. And so the reason this is before you here tonight is because any drive-through located within 100 feet of residential requires a CUP. So in this case, the use itself for a fast food restaurant that they're proposing is permitted by right. So the only review would be part of the drive-through operations. The new restaurant will utilize the existing 1,900 square foot building, as I mentioned. They're called Seven Leaves Cafe. They specialize in coffee, tea, and prepackaged foods. There's no full commercial kitchen. The proposed hours of operation are daily from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. That would include the drive-through operations, and approximately 3 to 4 employees per shift. The indoor dining would have approximately 20 seats. That's comprised of 9 tables. A 9-car drive-through, which is the existing drive-through that's found on site, and 16 parking lot spaces. They're currently already double-striped. As you can see in the top right-hand corner, there's also an existing trash enclosure. They are proposing to remove and replace it with a more modern, newer one, typically with the ones with the covers, a little more decorative. So here we have the proposed floor plan. The main entrance is from the south facade, and as you walk in, you'll see the dining area. It provides 9 tables and 20 seats, as I mentioned, which leads to 2 ADA restrooms. Past the dining area, there's a service counter and pickup window with the rest of the kitchen area and a walk-in cooler, and with a rear exit off the rear of the building. Now, staff reviewed the following traffic impact evaluation areas, specifically with regards to VMT, on-site circulation, drive-through queue management, and parking per the Monrovia Municipal Code. Now, the applicant hired a traffic consultant, Infrastructure Group Incorporated, who provided a queuing and trip generation evaluation. That's in the report dated November 23rd, 2025. And staff worked with the city's traffic consultant, that's Gibson Transportation Consultants Incorporated, and they conducted a peer review of the analysis with respect to the VMT. They did a comparative, they looked at the comparative analysis of other Seven Leaves locations in similar size and traffic, alongside on-site circulation and parking that was provided again by the applicant. Gibson did provide a memo which summarized their findings of the analysis. And when we look at that, we break it down. Gibson reviewed for VMT impacts under CEQA per the city transportation guidelines and found that the project is not anticipated to result in any significant impact, so there'd be no impact for the VMT. And that's due to the project is less than 15,000 square feet in size, and it is considered local serving. We've done many examples of this over the last couple of years. Gas stations, banks, a lot of the new restaurants like In-N-Out fall into those same categories. Excuse me. With regards to queuing analysis, again from other Seven Leaves locations, Gibson reported that there would be no drive-through impacts. Per the analysis, the highest observed queue from those other locations was 7 vehicles at any given time, which would be less than the existing 9-car queue that is currently on site. Now, the proposed queue is the 9 vehicles. They're also proposing a second lane, which I'll break down here in a minute. So we have 9 vehicles and then have a secondary lane for 4 additional vehicles for a total of 13. So in conclusion, the Gibson memo concludes that any new the new proposal for the utilizing the existing drive-through doesn't present any operational concerns with respect to traffic congestion, site circulation or queuing capacity, or for parking, with recommended site enhancements. Now, those site enhancements are listed here. So we have, again, the drive-through, you come through off the south side, it's a U-turn to the pickup window on the opposite side facing west. So again, the triangles indicated in red are the existing 9-car drive-through. There'd be a menu speaker board, and that is specifically placed to face east. This allows for a number of things. One, it provides less noise from the speaker box of the menu board to the residential to the north. So it's very particular in the placement. In addition to that placement, it allows for greater queuing past that 9th car to stay on site, while still allowing time for the business to make the drinks and the food before you get to the pickup window. So staff worked closely with both the applicant and Gibson to come up with that particular menu board placement. In addition, when a queue approaches capacity, again, that second drive-through lane would open. Employees would open that secondary drive-through lane within that existing paved area. They would take orders through handheld devices, and they would direct traffic to utilize both lanes and then combine into one like a zipper format to make sure that no additional queuing would occur off-site. In addition, Gibson requires that the 2-way traffic lanes be maintained. So it's not to be a one-way at any time. It's 2-way along the parking lot spaces at all times. This allows for traffic circulation on site. With regards to parking, both staff and Gibson reviewed the parking that is currently provided on site. In short, the Monrovia Municipal Code requires 1.5 spaces per table. At 9 tables, that rounds up to 14 parking spaces required. 16 parking spaces are provided on site. Now, staff did visit the site. That parking lot needs a little bit of TLC, so we have added a condition that requires them to re-slurry or seal it to make it look a little bit nicer. In addition to that, there is the landscape buffer in front of that corner lot. It's approximately between about 6 feet on Mountainside and about 10 feet on the East Huntington Drive side. Staff is recommending a condition of approval that they just rehabilitate some of the landscaping within that area to keep it looking nice. It's been vacant for a little bit of time. Still has some good foliage, but they just want to beef it up just a little bit. As I previously mentioned, there is a design review incorporated with this proposal. This would normally just go to DRC. However, because of the CUP application, it's before you here tonight. As I stated, the building footprint remains unchanged. So here we have the proposed and the existing in the corner here of the front facade. This is the south facade. Not a lot of changes. They're going to be adding new windows, replacing the ones that you see on screen to be a little more transparent so you can see into the building a little more nicely. They will be providing new stucco around the building. They will be repainting it in white with a brown with a gray hue for the trim color. There is existing deteriorated tile, that kind of that 90s tile, and they are removing that in favor of some stone cladding on the pillar bases. As we move around to the sides, this is both the east, existing east and proposed east elevation. This would be facing the commercial property. You can see that the project encloses both the east and the west end gables with a new square stucco finished framing that covers those drive-through canopies. As you can also see, the old pharmacy window would be closed up, and then a new dining area window is proposed as well. As we move around to the opposite side of the building, again, this is the east facing South Mountain Avenue. You can see that's where the new pickup window would be, and then also new dining area, which is out the front there. You can see that these are being squared off, just covering those existing canopies, a little more of a modern look that they typically utilize with other locations for Seven Leaves. Also, any new branding in terms of signage would have to go to DRC for review and approval as a separate permit. Now, this did go to the DRC Development Review Committee on February 18th, 2026. There were no public comments at that time. DRC did have some questions regarding left-hand turns coming out of the site onto Mountain Avenue. They were concerned with making a left-hand turn and disrupting traffic. So staff did add a condition, that's condition number 35, to install signage regarding traffic movements on South Mountain Avenue, who the applicant would work with our city engineer to come up with the specifics on what that signage would look like and where exactly it would be placed. The DRC did unanimously recommend approval of the project, subject to the proposed conditions of approval that are before you. We have a fair amount of conditions, but mostly are guided towards noise to reduce from the speaker box, as I mentioned. Specifically, the drive-through conditions. The hours of operation are going to be limited to 7 to 11 p.m. for the drive-through. Vehicles waiting to order shall queue completely on site. Applicant will provide a traffic management plan prior to certificate of occupancy. That's incorporating all those site enhancements that I mentioned. All signage, again, regarding traffic movements out of the driveway on Mountain Avenue, we shall work with the city engineer. Any restaurant deliveries we can't block the drive-through or the operations. The menu board speaker, it does need to be equipped with automatic noise reducing technology. This would also reduce the noise during the evening hours, so it checks the noise level automatically and would reduce it during evening hours to make sure that there's no impact to those residential neighbors to the north. Finally, final colors and materials have to be reviewed and approved by the planning division. The rehabilitated landscape area, as well as the parking lot rehabilitation, as I had mentioned. In addition, this was duly noticed with the newspaper publishing and a 300-foot mailing radius, and up to this point, I believe no comments have been issued for this project. Staff is recommending approval with conditions. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time. And I myself, as well as the applicant, are here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the commissioners regarding the staff report?
Is there anything, excuse me, is there anything different about this CUP than other CUPs we've approved recently in terms of the planning conditions themselves? Anything unique?
Not particularly. Most have a 6-foot wall on the perimeters adjacent to residential. The noise reducing for the speaker box, making sure that deliveries aren't causing a nuisance. So pretty standard. I would say that this is a little bit less in terms of the hours that they're proposing. Other locations have gone till midnight or open till 6 a.m. in some cases. So it's pretty consistent with others that have been approved.
And the review period on the CUP is?
So that is one of the conditions. I apologize, I didn't add it into the presentation. It would come back for a 6-month review.
Cool. Thank you. That's all.
Quick question
Yes.
regarding like the drive-through. Do we get complaints at other locations, fast food restaurants, beverage places on the sign, the noise from the ordering board? Do we get any complaints generally, or is that not a big deal?
We haven't typically. There's only about 2 that are actually adjacent to residential. I believe it's T-Burgers and a Jack in the Box on Huntington.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of, the
but-
Jack in the Box. as opposed to the car wash a few properties down, I think would be a lot noisier, if I remember.
Any more questions before we move to the public testimony? None? Okay. So now we're going to move to the public testimony. This is the time and place for public input regarding public hearing item number 2. We will accept testimony in the following order. The applicant first, persons in favor, persons with concerns, and then the applicant will have a chance to respond. So some reminders. Please come to the podium one at a time and state your name for the record. All comments and questions should be directed to the chair and not members of the audience. No dialogue in the audience is permitted. Any questions by commissioners for persons testifying should be asked before the hearing is closed. Comments and discussion by commissioners should be reserved until all testimony is taken. So would the applicant like to come and speak?
Hi, I'm Josh with Seven Leaves Cafe. Josh Newmaster for the record. I'm the Director of Business Development. We're very excited for this site. I think this will be about our 6th kind of Walgreen conversion, and one of the things that's kind of our core mission is being the change. And so this is another example of us being able to come in, really beautify this corner, really redevelop it, do the landscaping, beautify that, redo the paving, and kind of bring life back to this corner. So we're very excited. We're very grateful for the opportunity, and can't wait to see everybody there with the house coffee. If you guys haven't had Vietnamese coffee, that's our specialty. It's got a kick to it, so it's meant to be slowly, maybe start at like 6 a.m. If you start afternoon, you won't sleep. So definitely would love to look forward to having everybody there. Typically at our grand openings, we'll involve high schools just because we're really about the community and really serving every community in every cup that we have. So, but yeah, any questions, love to answer them for you guys.
I do. Curiosity, more morning crowd then than after, or maybe the afternoon pick-me-up crowd than the evening studying crowd? Is that how the flow of the operation?
It's kind of. I mean, we have a unique business model where we don't really fall into like the Starbucks where it's only coffee. So we have the Vietnamese coffee for the morning crowd. Then we have the milk teas and the boba. So that's kind of almost like an afternoon dessert crowd. So we kind of get a unique flow with everybody. Yeah.
Cool. One more question. At your existing locations, do you see that patrons use the drive-through more than the parking spots, or
Typically,
opposite?
yeah, it's probably about 70-30 drive-through. And so at a lot of the locations, we have similar to other concepts, an iPad. So for whatever reason it gets busy, we just bring out a team member with an iPad, quickly get the line down. So, but yeah, drive-through is definitely the way to go usually.
All right, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any persons in favor that would like to speak? Persons with concerns? Okay, so the public testimony portion of the hearing is now closed. We are going to start our deliberation. So now's the time for the commission to discuss and debate this item.
I think it's an exciting way to reuse. I don't know if the proper terminology, I've been around here a while, adaptive reuse. Is that a good? And it seems like the applicant believes in that, so ripping things down, using the existing and freshening it up. So I think it's kind of cool.
Ditto.
Yeah, it'd be a nice
Nice.
corner there. I've been to many Seven Leaves, and this one's definitely a different model than most of the Seven Leaves that you guys have out there. So I like that.
Any other discussion? No? Okay, so if there's no further discussion from the commission, is there a motion?
I move to approve CUP 2026-003 and DR 2026-0001.
We have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Actually, with conditions, right?
As presented with conditions.
Commissioner Austin,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Scheffler,
Yes.
Stahira,
Yes.
Bashani,
Yes.
Chair Brown.
Yes. The motion is approved.
All right, and Chair, if I may read the appeal language, and that is that all decisions of the Planning Commission may be appealed to the City Council if filed in writing to the City Clerk within 10 days, and an appeal fee does apply. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome to Monrovia. So next item are administrative reports. We have none, and so now we move to the Community Development Director report. So Director Bermeo.
Oh, yes. Good evening, Commissioners. Pleasure to see you this evening. Just two brief updates. The first is, wanted to let you know that the planners have been working hard, and April Kia, on our annual progress report of the general plan. And that's where we count how many building permits are being issued, approved, and certified with the certificate of occupancy for housing. There will be a report that's going to be presented to the City Council next week, and then we will bring that information to the Planning Commission next month, or actually our next meeting. And then that report will go to the state. The other item I wanted to bring up to the Commission is the City Clerk's office has opened the call for applications for anyone who wishes to participate on a board or a commission. We have 2 terms that are up for the Planning Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, Community Services Commission, Library Board, and the Monrovia Old Town Advisory Board. There's 3 positions for that. Applications may be submitted to the City Clerk. They need to be received by May 1st. And if anyone is interested in participating in any of those boards or commissions, we will be hosting a informational meeting on April 9th, starting at 6 o'clock in this room. And that concludes my report.
Wonderful, thank you. So now we're going to move to reports, announcements, requests from commissioners. Do we have any reports, announcements, or requests that anybody from anyone? No? Any items to be placed on future agendas or to be addressed by the staff? No? All right. So, yeah. So we're going to adjourn the meeting. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for April 15th. And so this meeting is now adjourned at 7:58 p.m. My kind of meeting.